What is good, YouTube? This is my fucking third time doing this dumbass intro. As y'all can see, the truth about All Block Fallout Durk Chief. I just need some quick little video to upload to keep this upload streak going for tomorrow. And then tomorrow, tomorrow, the day you guys see this tomorrow type shit. I want to start this. It's fucking 3 hours long. Yeah, this shit 3 hours long, bro. I'm posting 3 parts, an hour each, maybe, hopefully. Yeah, you're tripping, buddy. Anyways, let's get into this video. See what these niggas talking about. Upload streak on what, 3-4 days? Got the Chipotle. Let's see what these niggas talking about. I'm not reading nothing, so this nigga better be talking. Type shit.
I can go to Miami if I want to now.
Nice.
And obviously no piss test.
Bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's a difference between, I think, Chief Keef and Durk. I see somebody say so. Bro.
One of the most well-known rap beefs in the modern internet
good
world is the O-Block beef. And this so-called beef essentially started between two unique artists coming from Chicago who marked their territory in the hip-hop world by popularizing the drill rap scene back in the early 2010s. If it wasn't for Chief Keef and Lil Durk going toe-to-toe with their aggressive and violent rap lyrics, the whole drill wave would have never captured such a broad audience. What we're about to get into is a series of events that took place over the course of a little under 2 years and transformed one close friendship into ashes and dust, which ultimately led to a beef that's been hot topic of discussion on the internet ever since. In spite of the fact that the music which Chief Keef and Lil Durk made influenced a whole generation of artists, it was built on a foundation infused with bad blood. So what's the truth behind this fallout between Lil Durk's OTF and Chief Keef's?
Better not be no petty shit that the reason these niggas ain't making music together no more. Better not be no weird shit. You gonna read that, nigga?
Chief Keef grew up in Parkway
Good
Garden
shit.
Heights, or the so-called O-Block, the notorious Chicago block famed for being one of the most dangerous blocks in the whole U.S. This place accrued quite a status in no small part thanks to Chief Keef's music. Geographically speaking, the O-Block is the 6400 block of South Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Don't
Drive.
show Michelle Obama,
However,
nigga.
people who
We
live
already
on those
know.
streets still refer to it as O-Block, just like all Chicago rappers do. It was a gang member who gave O-Block its name. The O was for 20-year-old Odie Perry, a gang member gunned down on the 11th of August 2011. According to police sources, Perry's killer was a 17-year-old female gang assassin by the name of Gakira Barnes, who was later shot to death not far from the O-Block. Odie Perry was linked with Chief Keef, and they knew
My fault if
each other
I'm tuning
well.
y'all niggas ears.
Durk
Deal with
Banks,
it.
aka Lil Durk, grew up on a different block of Chicago, but also spent a
Eggshot Skins last
You stupid motherfucker.
feet. Choose Eggshot Skins.
I have a challenge for all of you. Go to every computer in your house, your mom's, your dad's, your sister, your brother's computer.
part of his childhood on the O-Block. He grew up in the Inglewood neighborhood of Chicago's South Side. The fact
Hey, I
that
think I'm
Lil
gonna order
Durk
a
and
ring
Chief Keef
light.
spent time on the same block paved the way for them to be affiliated with the same
Type
gang,
shit.
the 300 gang. The 300s were an alliance with the Black Disciples, also known as BDs. However, both Durk and Keef had gangs on their own. Cliques made a homies with who they were closest with and who they were making music with. Durk had his OTF gang, or Only the Family, while Keef had GBE, or Glory Boys Entertainment. Despite being on good terms from a very young age, hood politics got the best of them. It wasn't long before Chief Keef and Durk got on their bad sides, and it started after Durk got arrested and couldn't afford to pay his bond. June 5th, 2013 marked the culmination of a highly troublesome period for Durk. That day, the Chicago PD got an anonymous call informing them about a man walking around with a loaded gun on the 7200 block of South Green Street. Upon arriving at the scene, the police officers got a glance at Durk, who was trying to hide his .40 caliber handgun inside his car. Without hesitance, they arrested Durk and charged him with unlawful use of a weapon by a felon. You see, Lil Durk was already a felon thanks to a pre-existing charge that he received back in October of 2011. He got pulled over for drinking in his car, and they found a gun with a defaced serial number in the vehicle too. At that time, he was sentenced to serve 1 year in jail for aggravated unlawful use of a weapon. On July 27, 2012, Durk was released on parole after serving 87 days of his sentence. His sentence would be served.
I mean, he was a good boy
Later, if he was not to break the
type
law
shit.
during that period. However, that didn't happen. The anonymous tip that got cops on Durk's back on June 5th, 2013 meant that he was going to jail. Interestingly enough, Chief Keef would be charged with the exact same crime of unlawful use of weapon by a felon just 2 months later. Lil Durk was held on a $100,000 bond in order to get out of jail. He'd have to give at least $10K in cash. Even though he was signed to Def Jam, they couldn't give him the money that was needed. Rumor had it that he turned to Chief Keef for help, but he wasn't interested in helping him out. Neither Keef or Durk ever confirmed that the conversation between them happened, but it was obvious that something was going on behind the curtains. Tension was building up, and it began to show on social media.
Bro.
When all of the BD members gave their support to Durk on social
Niggas
media,
was just talking on Twitter. I seen this shit, nigga.
Lil Reese, Rondo 600,
Nah.
Rondo Santana were all tweeting free Durk. Chief Keef had only one tweet for everyone and was just a simple OTG, only the glow. It was a play from Keef's side, since Durk's label was OTF, only the family. Durk was held in jail for a whole month before he came up with the money for his release in July 2013. Prison wasn't easy on Durk. He was beat up several times by inmates because of his gang affiliation, but after he got out, he let everyone know he's back. He especially let Keef know,
You
since
look
he took
type
lyrics
shit,
from
nigga.
his track First Day Out and made a tweet out of it. I'm back, bitch, yeah. I'm
Bro,
back.
my camera's not that bad.
Or you ain't care, bitch, I'm free. Durk was obviously firing shots at Chief because it didn't help him out with the bond. However,
I don't
this
give a
was just
fuck.
the
Fuck
first in
you,
a
man.
long line of tweets that Durk had in store for Chief Keef. Durk then continued on, claiming that
Hey, y'all niggas go follow the Twitch, bro.
300, as well as that he's
The shit's right in the upper hand corner. Y'all niggas laying on your bed not doing shit, watching a YouTube video. Y'all niggas go type in some fucking letters and hit follow,
A
nigga.
man like Chief Keef shouldn't be trusted.
Not being
Turned
weird.
his back on his homies, D-Rose and T-Slick, ever since they got a hold of his riches. That's
shit.
at least Durk's side of the story. The very last tweet in line from Durk was the one that he made it clear where all this beefing with Chief Keef was going. Warning, I'm not Soulja Boy. This shit can get ugly. Durk used Soulja Boy.
Nigga called a stray?
Soulja Boy and Keef were tight in the beginning of Soulja's career. There was even a time where Keef was considering singing to his SODMG label, but that plan never came around.
Niggas say singing?
Just one day to his in the beginning of Soulja's career. There was even a time where Keef was considering singing to his SODMG label.
Are you
but that
serious?
never came around. Just one day after Durk called Chief Keef out once again, we finally get a response from Keef's side. Chief Keef tweeted about how he bought a quad bike for exactly $10,000. Was it coincidence that Durk's bond cost exactly that much? No way. Chief Keef knew exactly how to get on Durk's nerves,
That nigga
and he
petty.
did just that. Just bought a 2013 four-wheeler for $10,000. The Twitter arguments came to a halt soon after Chief Keef made fun of Durk's bond situation. Keef's arrest followed soon, and from August 2013 until the end of the year, Keef would have trouble with the police. Keef went through a variety of legal issues in the upcoming period. He got arrested and taken into jail because of a pot test that he failed. Keef was on parole during the time because he got a speeding violation. As a part of his parole, he was a subject to random drug tests from authorities. Having been caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, the police used this opportunity to test Keef for drugs since they smelled pot in the hotel room where he was staying. Since their assumption was right, and Keef did in fact have marijuana in his system, that meant that Keef had to do some time. However, his time in jail was very short-lived. He was released from jail on November 8, 2013, just days after he got arrested. But he wasn't out on the streets for long. The Chicago judge who released him from prison ordered him to rehab facility in California. Therefore, 2 days later on November 10th, 2013, he checked into a rehab facility, and he was also looking at community service after having finished his rehabilitation program. As he got home, he had more things on his plate, not just the community service. The O Block members asked for $7,500 in order to bail out Trey 5, who had been in jail since November 11, 2011. Initially, he agreed to give them part of his money that they needed for the $25K bond that was needed to free Trey 5. However, 1 week later, they made the deal. Chief Keef didn't pay up, and the deal fell apart. Such an act from Sosa had its consequences, and they were quick to strike. O Block boys would soon come for what's theirs. On March 26, 2014, Chief Keef had to appear in front of court for a shooting that took place in Northfield, Illinois. It's believed that the incident went down at the home of Keef's former manager, Uncle Ro. One person was shot and ended up in the ICU, but Keef's lawyer claimed that it wasn't Keef who did, although he was present at the time. Here's what really happened that day. While Chief Keef was in court battling a totally different case that he had from before, some of the guys from O Block took this as an opportunity to get back at Chief Keef since he hadn't paid his homage to his old Block members. Boss Top, OJ, and a couple of the THF 46 members raided the home that was rented by Chief Keef and Uncle Ro. All the O Block members who busted inside the house were armed. They robbed the place, stealing literally everything that they could get their hands on, from designer clothes, shoes.
Check this out. I'm gonna show you how I afforded this car.
So sick of niggas trying to get money, man.
Right,
And yes, I'm hating, nigga.
Bags to detergent.
Stop it with the
deodorant,
fucking
and
ass.
Keef's baby daughter's diaper. However, little did they know that the rapper and producer
Who is
Brandon
that?
Durk was in the house, and he called the cops to let him know that there was an armed robbery going on at Keef's home. Just moments later, Chief Keef would got back to his house only to get his chain stolen by Boss Top. OJ allegedly snatched GBE Capo's chain too. During the altercation, one of the guys who was associated with Keef's GBE also got shot. After the rounds went off, the O Block robbers fled the spot, stealing Keef's Grand Cherokee. Chief Keef and the rest of the people who were with him rushed to the hospital trying to save 33-year-old Terrence Smith. Luckily for everyone, he made it alive. Even though everyone was questioned by the authorities in order to get some additional info as to what really took place at the house, nobody said a thing. Without real evidence and just half of the story, the Chicago PD came to a conclusion that the BDs were having some internal conflicts. One of the persons whose name was mentioned in the official paper published by the department responsible for gang violence was Tyree Davis, also known as Boss Top. Chief Keef was under the radar for about 3 months after robbing took place at the house he and his former manager rented. After taking some time for himself,
Nigga, this is
Chief Keef
suspenseful
made
ass
sure to let
music, bro.
everyone know what was on
Made me
his
feel
mind.
like someone can come behind me and grab me.
Chief Keef felt devastated after what took place at his home during his absence. The fact that hurt him the most wasn't the material belongings that were taken from him. Far from it. He bought back everything that he had a little after it was all taken away from him. What hurt him the most was the fact that his very own people, the guys who grew up with him on O Block and once considered family members, managed to disappoint him and let him down so hard. Sosa expressed his feelings in a stream of tweets. Lil Durk, Boss Top, and everyone else who was involved in the robbing incident had lost a friend forever. Chief Keef gave blood, sweat, and tears for them only to have their backs turned on him. The fact that Chief Keef moved to LA a couple weeks later tells more than enough. Keef was done with Chicago. It went too far. His decision to move and continue his life elsewhere was met with nothing but support from the side of his fans. Plenty of people found it to be a wise move. Keef sounds like the smartest one out of the group. Difference is Durk is still trying to play street as opposed to Keef, who did exactly what he planned to do, get money and leave that shit behind. That's the goal, to get out. Durk and Chief Keef had not been talking for years, ever since Sosa moved from Chicago, but they're both still making music and dropping new albums. Out of all the possible scenarios and outcomes that could have come as a result of this beef, this was perhaps the best of them all. We still got 2 talented musicians with us. If Keef had decided to stay in Chicago, who knows what repercussions might have been brought. Now, 2 years gone by, it seems like things are changing between Durk and Keef. We might be looking at a different dynamic between them. There's an interview where Lil Durk talked about his relationship with Chief Keef and where it stands as of now. More specifically, he spoke on the arguments they had before and whether or not it could have gone south. It seems that the beef between the 2 O Block natives was finally squashed.
I'm saying all the arguments we had on Twitter and all that, it go when you mad. You know what I'm saying, ain't nobody really finna do nothing to each other.
So how did y'all finally like really squash it and kind of like put it all to rest?
FaceTime. I FaceTime him. FaceTime me. You know what I'm saying, we talked it out. I had a grudge. He had a grudge. You know what I'm saying, we killed it, put it in the middle of the floor. You know what I'm saying, it's over with now. So we working.
Chief Keef rarely does interviews, so he never confirmed that the conversation between the two actually happened. However, if what Lil Durk said in the interview is indeed true, he might get to see a reconciliation reflected in future music collaborations.
Man, drop a fucking
Chicago
song,
hip-hop fans
nigga.
would be delighted to see all the hate and disrespect finally come to a full stop between Keef and Durk.
Nigga,
What
is
y'all
this
think?
Trap Geeks video?
This is Blankos, the free-to-play multiplayer game where you can unlock, earn, and sell.
Anyways, like, comment, subscribe, follow the fucking Twitch. Stop being fucking weird, nigga. Hold on, y'all I ain't ending until y'all see that shit type shit, nigga. There it is.